The rain had just begun when Jack Harlow spotted her. He was on his evening walk, the gravel path crunching under his boots, when movement caught his eye. A tiny figure crouched by the roadside ditch, shivering. At first, he thought it was a lost child. But as he drew closer, the strangeness became clear. Her skin glimmered faintly silver in the rain, her eyes too large and luminous for a human face. Jack stopped short. "Well, I'll be damned." The girl looked up, water dripping from her tangled white hair. She hugged her knees, trembling. "Don't hurt me," she whispered in halting English. Jack crouched down slowly, hands raised in peace. "Easy, kid. I'm not here to hurt you." He glanced at the road behind them, empty, silent except for the rain. "What are you doing out here?" She shook her head, unable to answer. Jack sighed. He was a farmer, not a soldier, but the haunted look in her eyes stirred something deep in him. Without another thought, he pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around her small frame. "Come on. You'll catch your death out here." Back at the farmhouse, Jack made her tea, though she only sniffed at the steam curiously. She sat on his worn couch, dwarfed by his oversized flannel jacket, watching the fire in the hearth with wide, unblinking eyes. "Got a name?" he asked, setting down a plate of bread. Her voice was soft, almost musical. "Lyra." Jack nodded. "All right, Lyra. You got folks nearby?" She shook her head. "I was with my mother. Then the men came. Ships with fire. I ran. I don't know where she is." Jack's stomach knotted. Raiders. Smugglers. He'd heard rumors of them snatching vulnerable alien families from the edges of settlements. "You're safe here," he told her firmly. "No one's gonna hurt you while you're under my roof." For the first time, she gave the faintest smile. 3 days passed. Jack didn't know how it happened, but the little alien girl became part of the house. She followed him as he did chores, her small bare feet padding across the old wooden floors. She mimicked his motions when he fed the chickens or checked the fences. At night, she curled up by the fireplace, her glowing skin casting faint silver light on the walls. He found himself talking to her, telling stories of his late wife, of how the farm had been in his family for 3 generations. She listened with rapt attention, as though every word was treasure. But beneath her soft smiles, Jack could see the shadow of fear. Each time a truck rumbled past on the distant road, she flinched. Each time an aircraft hummed overhead, she ran to hide behind him. "Don't worry, kid," he said one evening as he tucked a blanket around her. "No one's taking you away." She looked up at him with those luminous eyes and whispered, "Promise?" "Promise," Jack said, though a chill ran through him. On the 4th morning, the knock came. 3 sharp raps at the front door. Jack froze. Few ever visited his farm. He glanced at Lyra, who had gone pale, clutching the blanket tight. "Stay here," he whispered. He opened the door a crack. 2 women stood on his porch. Not human, alien, like Lyra, though grown. Their skin bore the same faint shimmer, their hair long and pale. One was older, her face lined with worry. The other younger, sharper-eyed, scanning the farm with suspicion. The older one stepped forward. "Please," she said, her voice carrying a heavy accent. "We're looking for a child. Her name is Lyra. Have you seen her?" Jack's chest tightened. Behind him, he heard a small gasp. Lyra had crept closer, her eyes wide. "Mama?" The older woman's composure cracked. "Lyra," she cried, pushing past Jack. In an instant, mother and daughter were in each other's arms, sobbing. Jack stepped back, stunned. The younger woman followed, placing a protective hand on the mother's shoulder. Her eyes flicked to Jack, sharp and distrustful. "You sheltered her," she said flatly. "Why?" Jack met her gaze. Because she was alone, scared, needed help. The younger woman studied him for a long moment, then gave a curt nod. The reunion was overwhelming. Lyra clung to her mother, speaking rapidly in her native tongue. The older woman, Celia, she introduced herself, kissed her daughter's hair again and again, tears glimmering on her cheeks. The younger one was her sister, Arian. She explained in halting English that their village had been raided. Many were taken. They had searched for days, following faint traces until they reached this farm. You risked much, human, Arian said, her tone softer now. To keep her hidden. Jack shrugged. Didn't feel like a risk. Just felt like the right thing. Celia gripped his hands tightly. You saved my child. I can never repay this. Jack cleared his throat, uncomfortable under the weight of her gratitude. Just glad she's back where she belongs. But even as he said it, he felt a pang in his chest. The farmhouse already felt emptier at the thought of her leaving. That night, they stayed. Celia was too weak to travel further, so Jack gave them his bed while he took the couch. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the soft murmurs of alien voices in the next room. He hadn't realized how quiet the farm had been before Lyra. How long it had been since someone's laughter filled the air. His wife had been gone 5 years now. His children lived off-world. He had grown used to solitude, telling himself it was easier that way. But Lyra had cracked something open, her small hand clutching his sleeve, her whispered promise. Jack blinked against the sting in his eyes. He hadn't expected to care so much. In the morning, Celia and Arian prepared to leave. Lyra stood in the yard, holding Jack's hand tightly. I don't want to go, she whispered. Jack crouched down, forcing a smile. You have to, kiddo. Your mama needs you. Tears welled in her luminous eyes. But you promised. Jack's throat tightened. I promised no one would hurt you. And now, with your family, you'll be safe. She threw her arms around his neck, sobbing. He hugged her back, feeling his heart crack with each tear. Celia approached, her own eyes wet. She has spoken of you every moment. You gave her hope when I could not. For that, you will always be family to us. Jack nodded, unable to speak. As they walked down the road, Jack stood on the porch, watching. Lyra turned again and again, waving until she was only a shimmer on the horizon. Then she was gone. The farmhouse was silent. Too silent. Jack went inside, sat at the table, and stared at the empty teacup she had used. He thought of the knock on the door, of the embrace between mother and child, of Lyra's small voice breaking as she whispered, "But you promised." Jack closed his eyes. Maybe promises weren't just words. Maybe they were bonds that stretched across distance, across species. And he knew, deep in his bones, that their paths would cross again. Because once you open your heart to someone, truly, you never stop being part of their story.